And success is not a destination, right? A lot of people say, oh, these guys are successful or they made it, right? It's not a destination. It's simply a lifestyle.
Welcome into the Michael Wall Show. Listen, little technical difficulties today, but we worked through it. If you noticed, as you see, we got two great guys in the show. We got two microphones and one lapel. Well, this is what happens sometimes in life. You have challenges along the way. Sometimes you have children that might misplace some of your things. And Tony, you got to work through it, Jason, right? Tony and Jason know all about that. Listen, it's life, but we're making it work, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Great guests today on the show. We're going to talk about the Batallan Group, their success, and how they have risen from the bootstraps to major success, and how you can do it too. Today on the Michael Wall Show. All right, so let's jump in. We got Tony Batallan, Jason Batallan, not only just good-looking guys, but they're brothers. They got a great story, and man, I'll tell you, it's been neat to get to know them, and not only as friends over the years, but also watch their business grow. They own the Batallan Group, which I'll tell you, Tony, I'll start with you. You guys have not always had it easy, and success isn't easy, but you've worked your way through. Tell the audience a little bit about kind of who is the Batallan Group, what do you guys do, and then we'll get into kind of what it's like working, in the family team, and what it's like, from the perspective of growing in today's economy.
So the Batallan Group is a group of guys, right? Jason and I heading it up, that own and run companies, particular facilities maintenance companies throughout the Southeast U.S. We recently acquired, our last acquisition was done about 30 days ago, a company called Painters on Demand that focuses on maintenance paint throughout Southeastern U.S., Atlanta, Nashville, Florida. So we take those on, apply our systems and processes, and facilitate infrastructure for growth.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Jason, let me ask you this. How did you know or feel comfortable with the reality? Obviously, brothers working together, right? How did you feel comfortable to say, hey, this is going to work? Was there ever a time where you're like, you're getting in my lane, man. Stay in your lanes. I'll stay in my lane. How did that all come together? Because, a lot of people, they start out in business, and maybe it's with family, but oftentimes people say, man, family is tough to be in business with. But you guys have made it work, and you've done a great job.
Sure.
What's the secret sauce there for you guys?
We have, the secret sauce has nothing to do with us. It was our parents that embedded that in us. For us, it's been fairly easy because it's been like that since we were very young. So, I can't really say it just started happening, for somebody that's, a little bit older. For us, it's been like that since the beginning.
You learned it from the begining.
From the beginning.
Parents
and
instilled.
And we've worked together since we were very young.
Yeah.
Like in our teens.
Yeah.
And earlier. So it's a little bit easier for us than other people to do.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have it any other way.
And you guys have shared a little bit of the story of, kind of your parents. Obviously, Cuban roots, right?
Correct.
And talk a little bit about how that process of coming to the States and going through it has kind of helped shape your mindset around work and doing things with excellence and all of that.
Not seeing, but hearing and knowing all the struggles our parents went through as immigrants really makes us appreciate the opportunities we have available in the U.S. Where sometimes, it's just human nature that people kind of don't understand and appreciate that because they don't know what the rest of the world particularly looks like.
Limited perspective.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
So we think about that a lot.
Yeah.
That makes things a lot easier when you look at it in that perspective.
Yeah, well, you've had the history. You see it happen. And, Tony, I'll tell you, I think, unfortunately, I always think about the idea that champions are not made on feather beds, right? And so you guys are in a place where it wasn't always easy, right? And business isn't easy. And by the way, if you're watching this out there or listening to this on podcast, you're in business, you want to start a business, it's not easy. It takes effort. It takes work. But you guys have done a great job. You've grown a great multi-million dollar company. You're continuing to expand. You're in multiple states. I've loved getting to know both you guys over the years now. And one of the things that I see is your focus and dedication to excellence. I mean, these guys are literally, every time I see them, They're decked out to the nines with suits on. I mean, they're looking good. They care about appearance because they know, right? You never get a second chance to make a first impression, and that matters along the way. So, walk us through, Tony, a little bit of your journey, because it wasn't always easy. You guys had some struggles in '08. We don't have to go so far to the weeds, but then you didn't just quit. You didn't just be like, throw in the towel and be like, we're done. The markets were tough. Tell us a little bit about that story.
Late 07, 08, we're in the real estate market, still are as well. We struggled. I mean, we weren't expecting the dip, and we had a lot of rentals.
Yeah.
We got hurt, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Yeah. It taught us. I think we could have taken a course at Harvard, and we wouldn't have learned what we learned.
Yeah.
Through there, right? And we got through it. We stayed together, obviously, always will. Learned a great deal, right? And here we are. I mean, those things are what. I'm a big believer in that success tastes so good. Because you had to struggle so much to get there.
Yeah.
If it wasn't tough,
That's
everybody
good.
would do it. It wouldn't taste that good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's important.
Yeah. You can't appreciate it.
Yes, exactly. We are big believers in, a lot of times we realize what we're not as good at. Mm-hmm. We try to work too hard on that instead of focusing on what we are good at. Doubling down on your strengths, for lack of a better term, right? And that's why I've got Jason. We've got a great team of people with us that helps us, and we owe it to them just like as much as they owe it to us. I mean, it's a team effort.
So, Jason, let me ask you this. What is it for you guys, you and Tony, that's caused you to say, okay, this is where you operate, this is where, was it just kind of like you started the business, you said, hey, I'm better at this, then you're better at that, and we'll just kind of, I'll take these tasks and you take, and because a lot of people say, how do you really divide up who takes what? And how do you stop that overlap so that way someone does with it? How did that work for you guys?
Well, to Tony's point, basically we focus on our strengths.
Yeah.
And even before, even before we developed Property Works, on the real estate side, I stuck more on the finance end, and Tony was more on the operations end. Obviously, we both do everything, but and that kind of took its own course with these businesses as well.
Okay. Do you enjoy the process of acquisition?
Absolutely.
Is that something you get excited about?
Yes, very.
Yeah.
Very.
That's cool. And Tony, what do you see? So here we are now, and those that don't know about you guys, obviously Property Works was kind of the initial of Batallan Group, right?
Yes.
And that's, you explained it to me, but I'm going to let you explain it to them. Essentially, you guys take care of what in that space?
We're a full-service facilities maintenance company. So in any commercial facility, there's a number of things that need to be kept up, maintained, and serviced regularly.
Yeah.
That's what we do, from light bulbs to landscaping.
Yeah.
Anything having to do with maintenance at a facility.
Yeah.
We work at several Major League Baseball stadiums for spring training, large automobile dealerships, a lot of work with municipalities and things like that. Large with the Painters on Demand acquisition, they do a lot of work with big chains, restaurants, banks, law firms, all types of
So what do you think if you had to kind of put your success in a box and say, Mike, there's a couple key ingredients without giving away the secret sauce, obviously, right? But what are maybe a couple key things that you would say this has really propelled us in a level that, and maybe it's just work ethic, I don't know, but I think it's more than that. You guys are pretty sharp guys. What would your perspective be on that?
I'd say you're the average of the 5 closest people to you.
Yeah.
Right?
People hear that a lot, but how important really is that?
It makes all the difference. If you show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Mm-hmm. Right? Hang around with the right people.
Yeah.
People that can help you grow, that don't see the glass. Mm-hmm. How do I say? Half empty. They see it half full. Mm-hmm. That's very important, because most of the time, to do what we've done and to achieve ultimate success, you got to be a little nuts. Mm-hmm. It's just the way it is, right?
Right.
Most people aren't willing to absorb the abuse.
Yeah.
So find the right people to spend time with.
Yeah.
Focus on your strengths.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you don't try to better yourself at parts at things you may not be that good at, but focus on your strengths. Mm-hmm. have a clear vision,
Uh-huh.
right, of where you want to be, what your family's going to look like a year, 3 years, 5 years from now. What kind of house you're going to live in, what's your life going to look like, how many businesses are you going to have? You got to have a plan, right? When planes and cruise ships leave the port,
Right.
they can't see the destination,
Right.
right? There's a plan in place. They make mid-course corrections. Everything doesn't go. You got weather. You got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
You got to do that from a perspective. We work with an organization, a charter school organization, and this is their saying, not mine, but it's very good. They say, we're flying the plane while we're building it, which I think is very good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a combination of things, but for the most part, that's it. Find good people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And keep your eye on the goal at all times. 'Cause, we all get sidetracked.
Have goals, keep your eye on the goals. And let me ask you this, Jason. So as you guys have been growing, was there anything in you was there a season of time for you that things just like clicked, in business, as a business? Because you guys have been in business for some time now. And a lot of times people are like, man, I feel like, there's always this next struggle. There's always this next whatever. But was there ever a time or a season for you where things just kind of clicked, where you're like, you know what, everything, that all the work, all the effort, all the time, all the energy, all the, the challenges that we learned through, all of the making sure we had the right friends, and everything just kind of clicked? Can you remember a point in time where you're like, man, we're really on a good track here?
I think that happens in phases, and you get to that point.
Yeah.
And then if you're growing, you again revert back to how you were feeling before.
Yeah.
And then you get to that clicking point again. That can only happen if you're if you're educating yourself and you're growing.
Yeah.
And therefore that's why a lot of businesses have a, ceiling, and they can't surpass from there, and they're good people and they work hard. And you mentioned work ethic. That's a kind of a small, simple, easy part. If you don't have the work ethic, you're not going to be in business anyway.
Right.
So I think the self-education and the constantly seeking, knowledge and information and how things work, et cetera, is, one of our
strengths.
Absolutely.
I think that
both sides.
Well, and I think that's so important. And as you're watching this and listening to this is so, I love the kind of the rawness of like, this isn't always easy, right? And you got to be intentional. You got to have clear values and goals, because I think a lot of times people out there, as you're in your world, maybe you're a business owner watching this and you're like, yeah, I'm tracking. I know what you guys are talking about. You might be in a different industry, but you're getting it, right? Or maybe you're like aspiring to be in business, or maybe you're an employee of a company and you're in a place where you're like, man, you know what? These people that are business owners are just, every life is easy. They're making all this money. Everything's wonderful, but it's tough, right? And the reason they get the majority of the profits is because they're taking all the risks. Like you said, Tony, which I love, is most people aren't willing to absorb the abuse. And it really is, in a lot of ways, you got to be willing to fight through stuff.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that we all pay for an education.
Yeah.
Some in school, some out of school.
Yeah.
But we all pay the price.
Yeah.
And success is not a destination,
Mm-hmm.
right? A lot of people say, oh, these guys are successful, or they made it, right? It's not a destination. It's simply a lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. And
constantly improving yourself and bettering yourself.
And let me ask you guys this, and maybe Jason, I'll talk to you about this, but at some point in time, like for me, right, in our space, we got multiple companies doing different things. It's not necessarily just about making more money, even though that's obviously part of the goal, right? You want to have a business if you don't want to make money, but some of it's just kind of the game. I love to grow. I love the idea of waking up and there's a new challenge and busting through it, whereas before it was like, I don't know if I want to, but it's like, I actually enjoy working through challenges because of what I get out of it. What are your thoughts to that?
I feel the same way, and I can speak for Tony on that as well. He feels the same way. It's not all about the money. Obviously, you take it, you want it, you need it, etc. You
Right.
want more, you want to grow, but that's not the ultimate.
Yeah.
And that if you can and you don't, there's something that doesn't make you feel right about that.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
that happens to us, and it has happened, and we're willing to continue to learn and go through those struggles
Yeah.
over and over again and
Yeah.
continue growing.
Which is I love. I mean, first off, again, I love the fact that you guys, the roots of where you've come from, right? Your parents and family, And it's just a testament to what is still currently available in this country. I think that's important for people to realize and remember. Where do you see, where's the future for the Batallan Group? Are you guys taking over the world? I mean, I know that's the plan, but how does that, what does that look like in your small slice? What do you have thoughts? I know you can't share everything because some things are behind the scenes. What are your thoughts, Tony, as far as what the next 5 to 10 years look like in your vision?
To continue to grow. We want to continue to acquire companies. We've got a team, an internal team that's constantly reaching out to business owners to find the right infrastructure that fits our mold, that can bolt into our system. And they're out there. A lot of people don't have a succession plan. You know, we're not necessarily looking to come in and take over a business. We want to partner with people who have business and facilitate their growth, right? Many of the organizations that we've acquired in the past, we've kept management and ownership on board for an extended period of time. That's our model, right? We don't come in and take things over. There's a reason why we bought it, because it was working.
Right.
So why change it?
Yeah. Yep.
So
that's awesome. So continue to grow, continue to add value. And let me ask you this, Jason, in relation to companies, as you look to acquire them or companies that are out there, what do you think is one of the, it's got to be tough, especially in the industry that you guys are in to some degree. It's tough in any industry, really. But in this industry that you're in, finding companies that have systems in place. Do you find that when you walk in, you guys, the systems you've created, because I know that you guys have really done, your focus is doing things with excellence. I mean, that's very important to you guys. And I see that in the trucks as they're driving down the road, and they're clean and they're washed and they look good, and just the way you guys show up to things and the way your staff and people kind of present themselves. Is that something that when you acquire businesses or companies that just maybe is naturally hardwired, or is that maybe like some of the value that you're really bringing to the table is your systems to help them kind of really get in line and really starting to flow, and then they can see additional growth?
Well, we try to allow companies to grow on that. Obviously, if they don't have any of that, you know, a lot of times what we're attracted to in companies when we look at is the culture, the people. Obviously, it's all about the people in the organization. And then we try to expand on that. You know, most companies have, again, a ceiling of sorts, and then you can help them expand on that and bring them into your organization and group and facilitate things that they struggle with.
Yeah, that's good. So let me ask you this. I'm going to give you the last final thought here, word. Tony, for you, Jason, for you. We'll start with Jason for you, I guess, since we're here. If you were speaking to someone today, whether it's one of your kids or just someone watching this out there, an aspiring entrepreneur, maybe an entrepreneur that's been beat up a little bit by the pandemic, and they're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what it looks like. What's one small bit of encouragement you would share to them that you've been able to apply to your life over the years that has caused you to help reset your brain and get focused on achieving goals? If you could share one thing, what would it be?
Keep going. Keep going. Those setbacks are going to happen. That's part of it.
Yeah.
If these things didn't happen, everybody would be in business and it would be easy.
Yeah.
The only certainty is in the future, you're going to have some more setbacks.
Right.
And they're probably, if you're heading in the right direction, they're going to be larger than the previous setbacks that you thought were, you know, world ending.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
You know, get used to those setbacks and used to dealing with those challenges and move forward.
Yeah. Champions are not made on feather beds, right? Correct. Yeah, it's important. 100%. Tony, what are your thoughts? Mr. Motivation, by the way. I love this guy. He literally, we live in the same neighborhood, and he's hanging out. I'm like, listen, you need to, and he's just encouraging my son, encouraging people. I'm like, Cyrus, we're going over to their house again. So I love it. What do you got for people?
Similar to what Jason said, I often ask myself when I'm first of all, there's never an easy time to make a tough decision. You got to come to terms with that, right? It's not supposed to be easy. Never an easy time to make a tough decision. And ask yourself from time to time, not what am I making here, but who am I becoming? What is this making of me? Right? Because that makes the difference. I ask myself those two questions a lot of times, right? Hey, you know, irrelevant of what we're making, what am I becoming? What is my team becoming? Jason and I could be the best, right? We're not, but we could be. But without the team we've got,
Right.
we couldn't do what we do.
Right.
We owe a lot of our success to them.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not easy, and some people embrace change different than others. There are growing pains in business, and those things happen. So you have to, help everybody, the team across the goal line, right?
Yeah.
We can't do it.
Yeah. Win as a team, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You win as a team, you lose as a team. When you realize that, you bring everybody on the journey. I love that.
Sometimes the losses are more important than the wins.
Yeah.
Because of what it creates for the team. And
That's great.
Yeah.
Because, and that's really what people need to hear, because people are in a situation where they're, they need to know that they want to win. Everybody wants to win all the time, but we've gone to this culture of like, hey, everybody gets a trophy and whatever. That's the worst thing. By the way, if you're a parent out there, that is the worst thing that you can do for your kids. Give them a trophy or reward them for doing nothing. If you want to create dependent people for the rest of their lives on you, if you want to create a society that just wants the government to just solve all their problems, and the government creates all the money because they don't take any money from you in taxes to pay for what they're doing. Kidding, of course. They actually borrow and print, and then we pay for it later, right? What I'm telling you is let them go through challenging times. Very important. Guys, listen. Thanks for joining us, Jason.
Thank you.
Enjoyed having you, Tony.
Thank you.
Good having you. Listen, the Batallan Group, great guys, good men. If you're in a place out there where you are a business owner and you have a need, maybe you got somebody helping you in what you're doing, I don't know, but you're like, man, I need to kind of think about changing who is helping us on our journey, whether it be landscaping or, from light bulbs to landscapes, as Tony said, anything you got maintenance-wise, check the guys out, Batallan Group. Great people. I can vouch for them. Not only are they great business owners, but good friends, and they do what they say they're going to do. Really, really good people. And my goal really in having these guys on is to just take a minute and share a story of here's brothers from an immigrant family, right, that are now in America that have taken the no excuses mantra and said, we're going to go after it, and we're literally going to do whatever we need to do to make this work. And you know what? When they get kicked in the teeth, because it happens, they're going to reboot, they're going to regroup, and they're going to stay on course. Doesn't mean that they necessarily stay down a failed path. They might pivot and do something different. But I love that idea of continually striving towards success. And as Tony said, who are you becoming along the way? Because remember, it's all about planting shade trees in life under which we will never sit. That is how we change the world, one life at a time. It's our responsibility. It's your responsibility. So make sure you share this show with someone that needs to hear it, because they need to hear Jason and Tony's story. They need to hear the story like, wow, they can do it. If these guys can do it, we can do it too. It's encouraging. It's only going to benefit, I think, those that are around you as well. And as always, my desire in life is to help you live on purpose so you can live with purpose. Be blessed. We'll catch you next show.